95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons. Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the series finale for the Just Two Idiots Cup Series Sprint Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today, 1080p 60 frames a second, as we are live from virtual Australia here at Mount Panorama, also known as various other names, Bathurst or Mount Panorama, if that suits your flavor a little bit more. Qualifying currently underway here as drivers currently have just under 15 minutes left to go here before qualifying is officially said and done here. But as I mentioned at the opening of this broadcast, this is the series finale for the Sprint Series and the last chance for drivers to secure any points or positions that they might want to have here before things are all said and done. But I can't think of a better track to end it at than right here at Bathurst. It is a legendary track in of itself with a lot of tricky sections throughout this track. Not only do you have the Dipper, the legendary section of this track, but also the uphill parts leading up to it can also be quite treacherous as well if you're not careful. But drivers currently coming across the line for the very first time, so this will be their first timed lap as they make their way across that checkered line. And those tires should be pretty well warmed up here at this point to make a first flying lap, but it will not quite be indicative of what their true pace will be once they get those tires fully settled in and they can really start to let these cars loose. You can really hear appreciate the sounds of these V8s here in these Radical SR8s as they get a lot of time to just keep that throttle wide open and just let that V8 sing. So it is a great day here at Bathurst, a great day for racing, and hopefully going to be a good day for points for both not only drivers but teams as well. Currently, we can actually take a look at the point standings as they currently are. For the team championship, team Backmarker Motorsport, consisting of Squilliam and Prince Adam, currently sit at the very tippy top with 375 points. 21 points behind them is Team Loveseat, consisting of Beaver as well as Captain CK. Third place is Bong Life Motorsport, just 29 points behind the leader, only 8 points behind Team Loveseat. Backmarker Motorsport Bong Life Motorsport, consisting of Urko and DC, formerly known as DC. We'll just leave it at that. So we have quite a tight battle for the second place spot in the team championship, but also the leaders in the team championship aren't necessarily out of the woods here today either. Now, we don't exactly have as large of a field as we normally are used to seeing here with the J2Y Sprint Series. However, I still am led to believe that it is going to be quite intense racing out here today. Nonetheless, as we start to see the first times coming up on the left-hand side of your screen, Squilliam at the very tippy top with a 158.726, DC just behind in second, Eat My Dust in third, and you can see the top six on your left screen. Now, more drivers starting to fill in as they make their way across the line for the very first time here, as we tune in to Gareth McAllister, the number 35 driver, a relatively newcomer here in the J2I series, but he has been racing for quite some time. But this is also considered to be his home track, as it looks like he's not having quite the best internet day today, but Gareth McAllister, again, this is his home track, and if I recall correctly, having a conversation with him about this track a long time ago. It seems like a long time ago, but a little while ago, I believe he said he's only a few hours away from this track, maybe a little less than that, but I know that he's mentioned that Bathurst is relatively close to where he resides in Australia. So, Gareth McAllister getting a little bit of a home field advantage here in the final round of the Sprint Series, but Squilliam's pace is looking phenomenal. DC also looking rather comfortable up there at in the front of the field as far as qualifying is concerned. And now that it's brought to my attention here, Long Island Nerd, aka Joe Albany, is here in the O2 machine. You can see that rear wing just dented in a little bit, and that is a common theme that I have witnessed throughout practice is drivers just really trying to squeeze every little bit of track that they can out of here, and ultimately sometimes that can result in some unsavory, results. A little redundant in my speech here, but needless to say, Bathurst is definitely one of probably amongst the top three easily in the iRacing service as far as difficulty is concerned. Granted, once you take a few laps around it, it's really not that bad, but one mistake can end it all for you. You can feel comfortable, but there's a saying for it, I can't quite recall it at the moment, but you can't get too comfortable around this track because it will eat you up and spit you right back out. Beaver comes across the line his last time by with a 158.379 as his best time, and that will put him in provisional pole position. At the moment, Squilliam just behind him with still that 158.726 as his best time. Still trying to improve that, as the last time he came across the line was actually about the same as his current best lap time. So Squilliam trying to get everything that he can out of that number 6 machine. Beaver looking to secure more points for himself and Team Loveseed. It appears that Beaver is going to be a lone man in this fight here tonight in the final race here for the Sprint Series, as Captain CK does not seem to be here today, but nonetheless, Beaver is going to be looking to secure those points some way and somehow. Speaking of teammates, Squilliam, along with his teammate Prince Adam, who is yet to put down an official time here with just a few minutes left here in qualifying. I was about to say practice. Prince Adam currently out on track and setting his first official timed lap here, so we're going to see what the pace is going to look like here for the number 13 driver as Squilliam comes across the line, and it is a big improvement here for the number 6 driver, about 0.3 of an improvement as we see the number 5 of Nicolator in the final turn there in the sand trap. But Squilliam able to squeeze a few more tenths out of that number 6 machine and able to put himself back on provisional pole. And Beaver is now in that second place position. DC in third And Prince Adam, it looks to be like his last time might have been, his last lap might have been voided because of a track limit or something of that nature. But he's going to get another attempt at it here with just about 6 minutes left to go before we see the checkered flag fly here in qualifying, and we move on to the main event, the final round of the Sprint Series, or rather I should say we head into the Sprint race and then the feature. Needless to say, we've got some exciting racing about to happen here at Bathurst as Prince Adam a little bit... Oh boy. All right. That is physics. Yes, that is how actually that works. Prince Adam having some very interesting issues there on his flying lap. But it looks like he's going to come back out of pit road. Going to get another attempt at it here with almost 5 minutes left to go here. And with track times looking around about 2 minutes apiece, it definitely does take quite a bit of time to get around the track here, as this is a very, very large circuit, about a little over 3 3/4 miles in length. For those of you living across the pond, that's about 6.2 kilometers. So again, a very large track, and can take a little bit of time to work through, especially through the dipper, where got to be careful. You really have to be careful managing your speed. And just to give you all a perspective of what that is actually like here, let's take a hot lap here with DC as he heads through up the mountain here. Coming out of the quarry corner. And here into turn 9, a short straightaway. Careful not to hit the wall. Carrying as much momentum as you can here through turn 10. Reach the skyline. And this is where you start to downshift. Managing all that momentum, trying not to let the rear end get away from you. But if you are also careful as well, you can use the intricacies of this downhill section to keep the car turning. But again, it's all a game of balance, and it's a very fine game of balance, especially when speed is the key. So it's a lot to manage, especially for drivers that are on the edge. But I think a lot of these guys are going to be very, very capable of pulling off some very impressive laps here today, and hopefully putting out some great battles while doing so here as we enter into our final 3 minutes here of qualifying. Squilliam still sits on provisional pole. Eat My Dust manages to pull into second place with a 158.15. DC spinning out here on the final turn, and that is the last turn here at Bathurst is always it's always a tough one, because you get through the entirety of the track, all just to get all the way to the last turn. You can see the checkered line, and you just give it a little bit too much gas, and away the rear end goes. And these cars in particular as well, there's a lot of power underneath them. Granted, there's not a lot of power in the sense of horsepower, only about 380, but given how small these cars are and how little they weigh in this grand scheme of things, there is quite the punch packed inside of these Radical SR8s. Just appreciating the different drivers here as they make their way through this absolutely difficult track. And I've driven this track a few different times, and actually with this car as well. And every single time, it is always a rewarding experience when you can complete a full lap and feel good about it. And as far as pace is concerned. But as we can see on the left-hand side of your screens, the field is looking rather consistent with their times. We're not seeing a massive spread here on, well, in qualifying at least. We'll see how that translates going into the race itself. But as we're watching along here with Nick Terrell, a resident Team Goon Squad native, if you will, or I should say a resident of Team Goon Squad, here to join the J2Y folks for a lovely day at Bathurst, and looking great out there in the 81 machine. I'm loving the like Matrix theme that he's got on there. That's kind of cool. I like that. With just under 30 seconds left to go, most of the drivers are down in pit road. Squilliam, Eat My Dust, Beaver, DC, the top four are all in pit road at the moment. That will be their final lap of qualifying, and just a few drivers remaining here as Long Island Nerd is going to come across the line here for his final lap and cut short of, actually, he might have just barely got cut short of that lap there. But either way, we are about to go through our first lineup for our sprint race here today. Up in the front row, we have Squilliam and Eat My Dust. Second row is Beaver and DC. Third row, Paper Bag and Simply Steve. Fourth row, John Downey and Gareth McAllister. Fifth row is AJ and Nicolator. Sixth row is Nick Terrell and Bar South. And moving on down the grid here, Biker Pilot, Prince Adam in your seventh row, and Long Island Nerd and James McKinney in your 12th row. That will be our lineup for our sprint race here today, as well as the drivers that we will have on track for today's race. As just about a minute before we see the lights go out here for the very first time at Bathurst, and it will be a 20-minute shootout for the sprint race here today, the series finale here at Bathurst. It has been what seems to be like a short period of time that we started covering the series here, and it's already about to come to an end here. But a lot of great racing has happened since we've started, and it all comes down to this. Will we see Backmarker Motorsport come away with the team championship, or will it be Love Seat? Bong Life Motorsport as well, also looking to come away with potentially a second place finish in the team championship here as well. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, Beaver currently dominates the lead with 297 points. 52 points behind him, we have Squilliam in second. And excuse me there, DC sitting in third place with 215 points. And there it is, the 5 red lights. Out they go and away these drivers head off into the first turn here at Bathurst. Squilliam, Eat My Dust, they're going to be side by side. Eat My Dust having to go a little bit wide there, almost dipping into the grass, but he is just about to the right rear wheel of Squilliam here. More side-by-side action happening between DC and Beaver as they head into the second turn. A lot of speed and momentum that you have to carry through here. Squilliam doing a phenomenal job of trying to keep himself away from Eat My Dust, but Eat My Dust staying right on his heels as they continue the fight up the mountain here at Bathurst. Drivers behind them going single file as, the 75, Bar South 22 makes contact with the wall. And Long Island Nerd also falling victim to the incident here. Squilliam gets a little bit of air in between himself and Eat My Dust. Paper Bag, and it looks like Prince Adam, or excuse me, AJ, getting off the grass, into the grass there just a little bit. Coming out of turn 10, but down the dipper And finally, out of the difficult parts, Squilliam manages to break away. Eat My Dust Beaver now going to be side by side. DC sitting in that 4th place position with Simply Steve in 5th. A drag race between Eat My Dust and Beaver. Beaver going to be to the inside here through the left-hander, but I think if things play out here in Beaver's favor, it won't as he gets put into the grass. DC not leaving a whole lot of room to work with for Beaver, and that unfortunately is going to force Beaver to fall into the 4th place position, and I would have to imagine also going to suffer a time penalty here as well for driving through the grass there and rejoining the track. I'm not sure by how much time, if he's already served it, but I'm sure that race control here will be looking at that in some regards. But as we see it on our screens, Paper Bag, Simply Steve having a little bit of a battle here as they come down the long straight, heading in to turn number 2. Not so eager to go side by side this time around, which I think is the smart move, especially through this section. But let's go ahead and ride on board here with John Downey in the number 99 machine as they head up the mountain. Oh! Simply Steve just got absolutely picked up and spit out here by John Downey. Hits the wall, and John Downey, oh man, I think John was hoping that he was going to be able to get out of the way a little bit quicker than that, but scooping him up and setting him for a ride here. As we see a little bit of brake smoke happening around the track here in various parts. But AJ and John Downey now going to be in their own little bit of a battle here. AJ going to go to the outside as they head into turn 20, also known as the Chase, according to iRacing. Oh, in the similar situation here for AJ, but not necessarily going to be side by side with John when that happened, but just taking the exit of turn 21 a little bit too wide, and that causes you to get into the grass, and it's very, very easy to overshoot overshoot the exit, I guess is the best way to describe it. Taking a look a little bit further up ahead, we have Beaver DC developing a slight battle here for the 3rd place position. DC with Bong Life Motorsport looking to put up a little bit of a fight here, as again, if you'll remember, Bong Life Motorsport sitting 3rd place in the team championship is going to be looking to try and secure some more points here. And DC actually looks to be in a lone fight here, as Urko does not appear to be here today, unfortunately. But DC is going to be putting up the fight nonetheless, and Beaver is definitely got a little bit of work ahead of him in order to get around that number 3 machine. But this straightaway might be just what he needs to build up that draft and get a slingshot move. There it is. Get to the right side, beat him to it. And it's flat out here, and it's all about just outbraking him here. And oh! Gets tapped. We're going to back that one up here real quick. Hit the old rewind button. And there it is. Just gets absolutely sideswiped in the worst kind of way. And unfortunately has to bring it down into pit road to work out the damage. Tune back to the battle between John Downey and Prince Adam. The battle for 7th place, or now 6th place, as they pass Beaver and AJ down in pit road. Only 4 laps into the race, but over 6.5 minutes overall out of the 20 minutes that we have here in our sprint race, and already a lot has happened here, whether it be just individual drivers just taking things just a little bit too much and not leaving enough room for themselves. It has definitely been a tricky start, I think, to today's sprint race, but hopefully some of these drivers will be able to use this as kind of a learning, a learning tool going into the feature itself. Just watching from the helmet camera here of Prince Adam. And I apologize that it's a little bit of a bird eye kind of view, or a fish eye kind of view. That is because when I am doing my own sim racing, it's usually accustomed to having all 3 of my monitors instead of only 1. So all you tech nerds out there will understand me. To those of you that don't, it's okay. But a very interesting move that you just saw from John Downey that I personally haven't seen yet, which is probably not too surprising given the lobbies that I race with. Anyway, point being, using every bit of racetrack that he could there to give himself as much room going into that flat out right-hander of what is technically known as turn 20, but it's completely flat out, and you just turn the wheel a little bit and you are off to the races. But heading up to turn 21, that left-hander going uphill, again, it's kind of a blind turn, so you really kind of have to trust your gut on your exit on where you're gonna land. And whoa, speaking of landing, Prince Adam finds himself landed into the tire barricade in a quick back home. Wow. Let's take a look at the instant replay here and see what exactly happened here for Prince Adam here in the number 13 machine. Oh, just barely nicked the grass here. We'll have to back this up here and you'll have to look carefully, but right there, both the left-hand side tires get into the grass, and that is enough to send those tires spinning a lot faster than that of the right-hand set, and it just obviously produces a unsavory result. But Squilliam, your race leader at the moment, has quite a bit of room to work with, about a 3-second gap. But even as I say that, Eat My Dust, the number 24 driver, oh boy, managing to get through the grass without any further incident. But Eat My Dust, before that little incident happened there for him, he was actually outpacing Squilliam by a fair bit. Whether or not he was going to be able to track Squilliam down and keep up with him remains to be seen. There's still, we're halfway through today's sprint race. There's still enough time to be able to make it happen, and there's still opportunities that Squilliam could make a mistake. And now this track, I think, is probably it's one of those tracks that no matter how much practice that you put into it, there's still something about it that it's unpredictable in some ways. I don't necessarily know how to explain it, but like I said, it's got some weird quirks about it that you can't always predict as a driver. Certain parts of the track will get hotter than others and become slicker than others. It's just a whole combination of things on this nearly 4-mile circuit. Paper Bag looking to put a little bit of pressure here on DC, the third place driver in the number 3 machine, ironically. A little bit of a coinky-dink here for DC. But Paper Bag utilizing the long straightaways here of Bathurst, and a lot of these drivers are going to be doing much of the same. Once they can get close enough to one another, they can get into the slipstream of the driver ahead of them. And again, they've got a long straight to work with. I mean, coming out of turn one, I don't know the exact length of it. I wonder if I could find out here for you. Okay, well, I can't find out immediately, but I would have to imagine that it is pretty close to, I mean, judging from a virtual standpoint, I would say it has to be anywhere between a half to 3/4 of a mile, if not more, maybe a little less, but I would have to say that it's quite long, and that is plenty of time for these drivers to get into that slipstream. Again, everyone's going to be full throttle in that scenario, and with these cars and how well designed they are for aero, it's rather impressive just how well they can catch up to one another in those straightaway situations. But Paper Bag again utilizing all of these intricate turns to his advantage here as well, trying to see where DC is maybe braking a little bit later to try and shorten that braking zone a little bit, so on and so forth. A lot of different things that you can try and look for while you're behind the wheel. Particularly, it's more just a matter of looking for mistakes, looking for opportunities that present themselves that you can take advantage of, where the driver's slowing down ahead of you. They make a mistake that you can move into the inside, the outside, whatever the case might be. All right, I think things are back to normal, but I apologize for that, folks, as it seems like we were having, or I was having a little bit of a internet connection issue there for a moment, but it seems like things have leveled itself out, and we are back to normal. But not much has changed in the way of the race here itself. Most things have remained calm and steady. DC, Paper Bag still continuing their battle here for third place. Squilliam still your race leader. And Eat My Dust in that second place position. DC getting a phenomenal run here on Paper Bag, though. As they come to the final turn, DC on the outside. He's going to switch it back up there as they come into the final turn. Staying right behind the number 420 machine as they come down the front straight into turn one. Paper Bag going to be the one to get out ahead for the time being. But DC knows that he's got a long straight to work with. He's going to utilize as much of that to his advantage as possible. Under a tenth of a second between these two as they head into turn two. And DC gets a phenomenal move on the inside of Paper Bag. Paper Bag having to avoid the wall and slow it down just a little bit. But it is a fight up the mountain. Paper Bag trying to give it everything he's got here. DC as well, not giving up here in the final few minutes of our sprint race. Paper Bag staying right as close as he can to the rear wing of that number 3 machine. And you can see the little bits of damage that are done to these cars here as well. You gotta love the iRacing damage models of these cars here as well. It's just kind of hysterical sometimes. Great move here from Paper Bag, trying to squeeze as much room from DC as he possibly can through turn 21. Unfortunately, isn't going to quite work out as well as he wanted it to probably this time by. But as they enter into the final 2 minutes of the race here, this will, I assume, be the last lap that these particular drivers will be making here, potentially, before the checkered flag is flown. But as we take things back just a little bit behind those two drivers, we see Beaver and John Downey having a little bit of a fight here as well. Let's go ahead and look out the rear view of that number 99 machine. We're getting a incident report from Gareth McAllister. It seems to have happened. Oh, just a little bit of a self spin. No harm, no foul. But as we tuned away from John Downey and Beaver, gets a little too close to the rear end of John Downey and the number 99 machine. We'll see if we can get a better camera angle on this one. Oh, man, that's a horrible camera angle. Come on. Let's see if our blimp camera... Nope, definitely not going to save us there. Well, this is the best we got, folks, but here it is. John Downey makes a little bit of an error, tries to correct it. He's already in the slide. Beaver slows it down a little bit, but he's already assisted in that push to send John Downey spinning around here. DC Paper Bag. Whoa! All right, we got all kinds of replays to spool up here for us. Paper Bag DC heading into the final turn, and what's the verdict? It was like in harmony. It was like literally in unison. What? They literally both spun at the same time in the same fashion. Okay, that's not funny. That's not funny. I'm sorry. Oh boy, okay. That was something I don't think I will ever get to see again in my time of broadcasting. So that I needed that. That was great. But Squilliam, Eat My Dust, they are just a little over halfway through the track, and I believe once they approach the checkered line, the checkered flag will fly, and this will officially be the last lap here for drivers. So for Nicolator and Beaver, this could be the last chance to fight for positions and for Beaver to crack his way into 4th place. But for Nicolator, I think he's going to do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. While Nicolator isn't necessarily fighting for any crucial points here, he is still definitely looking to put up a good fight here between himself and Beaver as they approach into turn 20. And still love the sounds of those V8s screaming by. That just, even in the iRacing simulator, they still sound awesome. There it is, across the checkered line. Beaver, Nicolator, they take home 4th and 5th place. Squilliam, Eat My Dust, and Paper Bag, they've already crossed the line for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, respectively. As the rest of the field makes their way across the line, and they get themselves ready for the final race of the night, the feature event, the 40-minute sprint. Well, 40-minute feature, I should say. We already did the sprint, and it was excellent. John Downey, James McKinney, they're going to have a screaming battle here for 11th place. James McKinney going to be on the outside as they head into turn 21. John Downey going to have the advantage in the number 99 machine. McKinney going to fall back just a little bit here, and the battle's going to diminish between these two, but there's still one more turn, and John Downey is going to take it very smooth, very clean. McKinney following along as well, and they take it across the line. 10th place for John Downey and 11th for James McKinney. And while that happens, folks, and while we have a little bit of time, a little bit of a break session to work with, we're going to look at our post-race results here as soon as the rest of them are ready. But while that happens, we're going to talk to the main man of the hour, Mr. Squilliam, coming away with a fantastic win here at Bathurst for the sprint race. Squilliam, it's been a phenomenal day so far here at Bathurst. A lot of interesting events that have happened, a lot of calamity, but you've managed to keep things relatively smooth, relatively clean, especially in the opening lap, which I think was probably the most critical lap of the race. Is pretty much just a matter of getting yourself out ahead of the rest of the field and managing yourself from there. But Squill, kind of talk to me a little bit about your preparations for today and kind of what's been, what's your objective overall for today's race, for the grand finale of the sprint series?
Yeah, I actually didn't really get the practice that I wanted to, unfortunately. I've just been so busy this week. I touched the track a little bit on Friday night, and that was it until today. But I was able to get in early, get in some practice laps, and get confident in the car. I've luckily had the opportunity to run, V8 supercars around here, GT3s with the special events. I've run this car before, Mazdas. I've touched a lot of cars on this track, so I feel very comfortable with it. Luckily, I think that kind of played into it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, Squilliam, and as we gear up and get ready for the 40-minute feature, everyone's kind of got a little bit of a taste of what to expect here. I mean, what's kind of your main objective, or what's going to be the main thing on your mind here as you prepare for the feature? I mean, it's 40 minutes of a very tricky, I've already said it. I don't want to repeat myself, but what's your plan here for the feature? It's 40 minutes of a lot of intense racing and potentially could be riddled with some mistakes, not necessarily from yourself, but from around the field. What's kind of your outlook here for the feature?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a little concerned with Beaver's starting position there. I'm hoping I can get through Eat My Dust and Paper Bag and get behind him, because I know he has pace here, and I don't think I'm going to be dropping with the draft. The draft here is kind of insane. I mean, you're getting some draft like 1.5 seconds back because these things are just so fast and punch such a long hole. But yeah, just get through the field as best I can. Cold tires on the first lap, like any other track, is really, really hard to manage in this car because I think it's just because it's so light. So yeah, just get behind Beaver, stick with them. Hopefully gap the rest of the field depending on how the draft works out, but we'll see.
Well, Squill, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you here. Before we get into our feature event, before I let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before you head back on track?
Yeah, I wanna give a shout out to Adam, actually, my teammate, Prince Adam. If I've done my math right, because both Captain, a part of Love Seat, and Airco with Bong Life Motorsports, since they are both not attending, I am fairly certain that we have captured the team championship, which is super awesome. So I have had an awesome season racing with him. This is the first time I've ever raced on a team with him, and we're definitely looking forward to doing something together next year, depending on what my brother's schedule looks like and what he's able to race. So yeah, great season with him. Super, super proud of him and all he's done, and it's been fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here, Squilliam. I look forward to seeing you back out there on track, and hopefully get to talk to you again before the night's over.
Of course, man. Thanks.
Yes. Have a good one. All right, folks, and we got one more driver up here in the booth. We're going to have to do this one a little quick because I didn't mean to take up that much time there with Squilliam. But Eat My Dust, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your second place finish here. A little bit of a interesting start here for the entirety of the field, and you really had a lot of work cut out for you in the first opening laps here. But just to make things quick, I mean, kind of sum up your experience of the sprint race, and how do you look forward to the feature here?
Yeah, thanks for having me up here, Mason. I got a good start on Squilliam there and tried to poke it and pass him on the way up the hill, because I knew if he stayed ahead, he would stay ahead. We had done a little bit of practice laps together, and if I was ahead, I was able to hold him ahead. It just didn't work out that way. But on the way down the hill, my first time, I lost a little bit in Forest Elbow, and allowed Beaver the opportunity to come try and get around, and had a good little couple corners there with him. And then I think he just kind of pinched me a little too much there. Maybe the right-hand drive version of the car versus a left-hand drive was the reason for that. But after that, it was kind of just hanging in there in front of DC and Paper Bag, I think. So it was a pretty good first race, and hoping to try and keep it on in the second.
Absolutely. Well, is there any quick shout-outs that you want to give before you head back out onto track to grid up?
Yeah, shout out to Steve. I know he had some other plans he had to go to, but he started the race and was trying for a little bit before he spun himself out. And then shout out to my dad.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here, Eat My Dust, and hopefully get to talk to you again before the night's over. And good luck to you out there, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully get to talk to you again, and good luck to you out there.
Sounds good, Mason. Thanks.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks, so that was Eat My Dust out of the booth here, and it looks like, oh, man, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad because I thought I had only 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. All right, well, either way, oh, I feel bad. Well, we've got a little bit of time here before we gear up for our feature event here today. While that happens, folks, we're going to take a little bit of a short break up here in the booth. And while that happens, you can enjoy some of the sights and sounds here at Mount Panorama. We'll be right back, folks. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and we'll have more action of the series finale of the J2I Sprint Series. Alrighty, folks, as the warm-up session is about to warm up here, or is about to wrap up here, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves ready to go for our 40-minute feature race here today at Bathurst for the season finale of the J2I Sprint Series. And as we were talking about a little bit with Squilliam, with Team Backmarker Motorsport, as he was mentioning, himself and his teammate, his brother, Prince Adam, are looking to, it looks like they will potentially secure the team championship, as both of their drivers are present for their team, and the other two teams, Love Seat and Bong Life Motorsport, only one of each of those teams' drivers is present in today's race. So points-wise, it appears to be that Beaver and Prince Adam will be able to score some great points here today. Let's run through our starting grid for our feature event. Biker pilot AJ start up at the front of the field with DC and Nicolator in the second row. Beaver and Paper Bag taking up the third row. Eat My Dust and Squilliam in the fourth row. Gareth McAllister, John Downey in the fifth row, James McKinney and Nick Terrell taking up the sixth row. Moving on down the lineup here, Long Island Nerd, Prince Adam in the seventh row, and Bar South and Simply Steve taking up our 12th row here today. And there it is, the red lights about to count away here. Biker pilot up at the front of the field, and he's going to have some room to work with. A little bit of a rough start here for the number 42 driver, AJ, going to be able to get up almost alongside him here as they head into turn one. AJ is now scrambling to fight for positions here with Biker pilot DC also looking to get involved in this fight here. Beaver, Nicolator, Squilliam, all loosely behind them here as well, as we see a driver way back there in the field. It looks like James McKinney found himself in a little bit of a pickle, as Paper Bag also does the same here. Luckily able to recover it here in the last second, and it does not look like he suffered too much damage to that 420 machine. A very lucky scenario here for Paper Bag, but man, it is some intense fighting between Squilliam and DC here at the moment. Oh, as we've got huge contact, Biker pilot DC, Gareth McAllister just barely able to manage his way through it. We gotta back this one up here, folks, and take it into slow motion. Here, let's see if we can try and get it here at the right moment. There it is. The 42 machine, Biker pilot, goes sideways. DC has nowhere to go but right directly smack into him. Squilliam manages to make his way through. You see Gareth McAllister, a few other drivers also. Oh, no. Oh, it is just chaos here. But luckily for Gareth McAllister, Squilliam, John Downey, Bar South, a few other drivers, they managed to walk away from it unscathed, and they continue their race here. Gareth McAllister also managing to work himself into fifth place by all of that happening here. So Gareth, I'm sure, is going to be pretty satisfied with that here at the moment. William going to be on the tail of Eat My Dust down the first long straightaway before heading into turn two and up the mountain. William now going to be alongside of Eat My Dust here, giving a little bit of a scrape to the wall here in a very, very interesting way to go through. Oh man, very interesting way to go through turn four, but Squilliam managing to work his way past Eat My Dust, and it looks like Eat My Dust made a little bit of contact to the wall there just a second ago. And it just goes to show just how quickly things can happen here at Bathurst, and just how quickly it can go from good to bad in just a matter of a blink of an eye. But AJ, your current race leader, he is sitting quite comfortable with about a 2.3 second gap between himself and Beaver here at this point in time. Beaver, according to timing and scoring, his pace isn't quite there to match that of AJ, and I would have to imagine that some of the damage there that we can see to that number 10 machine may have something to do with that, especially that rear wing having some of that damage there that could affect the downforce abilities of that number 10 car. But Beaver is going to opt to come down here into pit road. Whoa! Oh boy, it just gets more and more interesting the longer you look. All right, so that's going to push Gareth McAllister, John Downey, Bar South, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place overall here, as Beaver's going to take that time to get some of that damage repaired to that number 10 machine and hopefully be able to improve. There it is. He's going to take actually a fast repair, which is allowed here in the J2I Sprint Series as well as the Endurance Series as well. I'm not sure how many they're allowed to use. I think it's only one, if I recall correctly. It's either 1 or 2. I want to say 1, though. So looking at drivers throughout the field, Barcel 22, currently the highest mover in Shaker, having moved up 10 positions from where he started in 15th, all the way up here into 5th place here at the moment. So that is a heck of a way to start out your feature event here for Barcel 22. Only 3 laps into the race, but only 6 minutes into our 40-minute feature here. So still a long time left to go here, not only for Bar South, but for the rest of the field, as we see Long Island Nerd heading through the dipper section, or just about to enter the dipper section, finding himself in a little bit of a pickle here. Let's see if we can take a look at the quick instant replay. Oh. I think he got a good smack to the wall there. Definitely got up on the wall. Unfortunate situation here for Joe Albanese, a.k.a. Long Island Nerd, as now AJ gonna be under pressure here from Squilliam, the number 6 driver, as he's under a second behind that number 45 machine and is slowly closing that gap here between himself and AJ as they head up the mountain. And right there is the exact opportunity that Squilliam is looking at from AJ. AJ getting off into the grass as he exited turn 10. And that is going to allow Squilliam to really close the gap here. And you can see AJ trying to break up that air behind him to prevent Squilliam from drafting. But it, like Squilliam mentioned during his interview after the sprint race, these cars have an insane drafting capability on this track with how long these straightaways are. It is just absolutely insane. So AJ now going to have to try and find a response here for the number 6 driver. as they head off into turn 1 and into the first long straightaway here, but the shortest of the straights here at Bathurst. Squilliam going to be able to improve his gap between himself and AJ here by just a little bit, but Squilliam is going to have to keep that consistency up here in order for him to continue to improve that gap. And here at Bathurst, that is something easier said than done. There you see Squilliam repeating the same maneuvers that we saw from AJ when AJ was in the lead, where he's trying to break up that air behind him and prevent AJ from drafting him too much here. As again, if you'll remember when we were having the interview with Squilliam, he mentioned roughly about a second and a half back, you can start to feel that draft start to take effect here. As Beaver attempts to close in here on Nick Terrell, we can actually see that draft starting to take place here. But Nick Terrell, being the good sportsman that he is, he's going to let Beaver on by, letting the faster competition go on with their race and not giving too much of a hassle here. But Nick Terrell being, I believe this is, I don't want to say this is his first race with J2I, but it feels like it might be. Either way, either how, it's great to have more of the Team Goon Squad family out here as well, joining the J2I folks for their weekly shenanigans, as it has been a lot of great racing and a great environment for any one of you that might be watching this broadcast after the fact. Beaver, whoa! What are you doing, buddy? Oh, whoa. All right, well, that's some interesting physics going on there with iRacing here. But let's go right on board here with Beaver to kind of... Oh, man. So, Beaver trying to slow it down there before he hit the wall, and iRacing just adding a little bit of flair to the incident overall here. But, yeah, again, folks, this track, no matter how many laps that you take around it, no matter how experienced you are, it is very easy to make those kinds of mistakes. And in Beaver's scenario, I believe he was just carrying a little bit too much speed heading down into that final, I believe that was heading up to the final left-hander. Either way, it's very easy to carry too much momentum through that section of the track, and trying to slow down while you're going downhill, just gravity doesn't always play in your favor, and it's one thing just leads to another, and you end up in that barrier. But again, iRacing adding a little bit of flair to it, and it seems to be that tires lately in the iRacing service seem to be a little bit more bouncy than they should be. AJ coming down into pit road here for the first time here tonight, but it looks like it might be damage related, as it does not seem like it's quite time yet to come down into the pits to grab fuel and tires, as we're not quite halfway there yet. We still got about 5 minutes left to go before we hit that halfway mark in today's race. But we've already seen a few retirements from today's race already. Simply Steve did not start today's race. Joe Albanese, aka Long Island Nerd, and James McKinney both retired on lap 4. Beaver just retired here on lap 5. Prince Adam, so those 3 drivers, including with Simply Steve, makes it 4, but those 4 drivers have taking it behind the wall here, and that will be the end of their race here today. Unfortunate to see that happen here for Beaver in the number 10 machine. I mean, just not an ideal thing to see here. And I'm sure, given by Beaver's response of just leaving the race, or, well, not leaving the race, but taking the car behind the wall, I think kind of shows he's not too happy about that one, to say the least. But I think who will be quite happy, if things go according to plan here for the remainder of the race here for Mr. Gareth McAllister, I think he could be quite satisfied with a second place finish potentially here today. It's still a long race left to go, and looking at timing and scoring, John Downey behind him in that number 99 machine is currently about the same pace as Gareth, if not a little faster in some sections. So again, Gareth still has a little bit of work ahead of him before he is completely in the clear here. But I think Gareth is definitely thrilled to probably be hearing it from his crew chief that he's in that second place position. So I'm sure he's probably getting himself locked in as far as focus is concerned. So as we are about 18 minutes into the race here at the moment, things are very calm out on track, all things considered. It does not appear that Well, Prince Adam actually looks like he has recently made a mistake here. Oh boy. So let's take a look here at what happened to Mr. Prince Adam, as it looks like he was battling with Nick Terrell there for a moment, and oh boy. A big fight coming up the mountain. And as they round the turn here, Prince Adam is a little unstable, and oh man, that might have actually been contact from Nick Terrell. Let's ride on board the nose camera here for a second. Yep, definitely a little bit of help here from Nick Terrell. I don't think he definitely meant for that to happen, but unfortunately for Prince Adam, that's going to find him down in pit road with quite a bit of damage to have to bang out here. We are about just under a minute left before we see the 10-minute mark, the halfway mark here in today's race. For the season finale of the J2Y Sprint Series, Squilliam, your race leader. Gareth McAllister in second place and John Downey in third. Jared Cobb in the chat, Squilliam for life. Squilliam having been a very dominating force in both the Sprint Series as well as the GT3 class in the Endurance Series that J2I also hosts every other week, aside from the Sprint Series. It has been astonishing to witness the sheer dominance of the number 6 driver, at least here in the Sprint Series. He has put on quite a show week in and week out, and I'm curious to see if in the future if we will ever see some competition come in the way for Squilliam and really put on some interesting battles here. We've seen it already a few different times in the past, but once things kind of settle out and once the dust settles, it seems like Squilliam, once he gets into his groove, it is quite a dominating force to witness. But again, as I mentioned, hopefully if one of you watching the broadcast is a sim racer yourself and you want to take part in this series, all you got to do is head on over to J2ICS.com and you can find all the information that you could want or need. And as this is the season finale for the Sprint Series, next week we head to the Endurance Series at Fuji Speedway, where we will see the grand finale there. Also the crown jewel race of the season, which will be a 2-hour long race. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Tune in for that race next week. It will start an hour earlier than normal, so we should be starting the broadcast, should be going green at about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But again, if you want to find out more information on how to be a part of the series, J2ICS.com. Head on over to their Discord and get yourself signed up for Season 9, as I am sure it is going to be a phenomenal season, and I certainly look forward to broadcasting those events when we find out the schedule. But that will come in due time, as we still have just under 18 minutes of racing left to go here at Bathurst, and still a pit stop left to be had for this field. And it looks like Nick Terrell and Bar South are both going to take this opportunity to come down here into pit road and utilize that time here to grab a fresh set of tires, fuel, maybe even bang out some damage to both of their cars here as well. But the drivers that we now have to be looking for pit stops to happen here: Squilliam, Gareth McAllister, as well as John Downey. All three of these drivers have yet to come into the pits for any reason, whether it be for damage or just fuel, tires, things of that nature. They have yet to do it. So while we have a little bit of time here, and as Squilliam is approaching the checkered line here, we're going to go ahead and take a lap on board with Squilliam and just kind of give you folks at home a little bit of an idea of what Squilliam is kind of doing behind the wheel from the helmet or, well, actually, never mind. Right as I suspected it was going to happen, Squilliam coming down into pit road to get that fresh set of tires, fuel, and all of the works that you need to be a successful race car driver. But Gareth McAllister, however, he has different plans in mind. So with those different plans in mind, let's go ahead and change our plans and ride on board here with Mr. Gareth McAllister, my esteemed colleague, as well as my good friend. Also Australian native, and is also here at his home track here at Bathurst. While it isn't exactly a stone's throw away for Gareth, it is still, in relation to the size of Australia, it is, well, not too far away. Well, we're going to go ahead and enjoy a lap on board here with the number 35 driver and just appreciate the sights and sounds here at Bathurst. There it is, a hot lap on board with Gareth McAllister as he makes his entry into pit road here and is going to get that fresh set of tires and fuel that he has been looking for, I'm sure, for quite some time. But as he does so, it does appear that he might fall down to, I think, the third place position here, just based on what I'm seeing here in timing and scoring, and based on... There it is. Yeah, so Gareth McAllister going to fall down to that third place position as both Squilliam and AJ make their way on by. But the interesting thing to note here is that AJ actually came in. He's only came in one time throughout this entire race, but he came in on lap, he came in lap 7. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screens here. So with that in mind, I have to wonder if AJ is going to have enough fuel to be able to make it all the way to the end. He might actually be able to. Maybe. Just maybe. We can actually go off of Squilliam and Gareth McAllister. So if they were able to stay out a full 12 laps here, and looking at, well, actually, the more that I think about it, the more that I think he might actually be able to use this fuel run as his final one, potentially. It might be close, but I think he might be able to potentially pull it off. But for Squilliam, I mean, he's retaining his lead at the moment and looks calm, looks comfortable, has about a 7-second gap separating himself from AJ here at the moment. Gareth McAllister in that third place position. He is still warming up those tires, those fresh tires that he's got underneath him here at the moment before he gets to full pace here. moment, things are looking calm and steady as we are about to enter into the final 10 minutes of our feature race here tonight. Taking a look at Bar South 22 here, currently sitting in that 5th place spot. Bar South is actually the hard charger of the race here at the moment, having moved up 10 spots. And I believe we mentioned this earlier, but he has still managed to retain that 10th place or that 5th place position, and is looking to secure a top 5 here with 10 minutes left to go. And Squilliam, a big off track here for the number 6 driver. Luckily able to recover from it and not losing too much time from it. It looks like he went off track for almost about 3 seconds. So not too much time lost here. But AJ definitely able to reel him in just a little bit. Looking at Nick Terrell here in the number 81 machine, as well as Nicolator in the number 5. We'll see a slight battle potentially starting to develop here between these two drivers. So Nicolator was able to close the gap here a little bit between himself and the 81 machine, but is still able to pull away here, even on the long straight, only by a marginal amount though. Terrell trying to employ some of the tactics that we've seen throughout the race here tonight of drivers breaking up the air behind them. Try and prevent that draft as much as they can. And speaking of draft, Eat My Dust taking advantage of the long straight here to get around Bar South 22. And looking at the damage here on that number 75 machine, oh yeah, there it is. I was half expecting that to happen. Yeah, that rear end is definitely seen some better days here. And it looks like that right rear, yeah, definitely all kinds of jacked up here. Those wheels are definitely not pointing in the right direction. All the Squilliam fans showing their support, and we appreciate you guys showing your love and being here for the season finale. Showing your love for your favorite drivers. We always love to see it, and we always love to see the support. As we are just about 5 minutes left to go before we enter into the final lap or laps of today's race here at Bathurst, and we close down the final few battles that we have left here as both teammates Barsow 22 and Paper Bag closing in on one another. Going to give each other a little bit of their own fight here for that 9th place position. Remote Crawdad also here, showing his support for Squilliam as well. Gotta love to see it. Minutes left to go here before we enter into the final lap or two here at Bathurst, and things are calm and steady for the majority of our field. No real battles happening here at the moment, and it does not seem like there will be any developing here with these final few minutes left. Squilliam, your race leader, AJ in 2nd place, Gareth McAllister in your 3rd place positions. Here at the moment, we'll wait until we get the final results before we run through the rest of the field. But on the left-hand side of your screen, you can also see the rest of the lineup and almost deduce for yourselves what the lineup will start to look like as Nicolator starting to close in on Nick Terrell. That number 81 machine, it was a little while. It took a little bit of time here for Nicolator to track the 81 machine down. But 2 minutes left to go here. And Nicolator going to be looking to put a fight here for 7th place. And Nick Terrell going to have to pull some tricks out of the hat and try and retain that 7th place position. Thank you, Jared. I always appreciate the kind comments. I certainly try and do my best, and when things get a little calm out on track, it sometimes can be a little tricky to keep the momentum going in the broadcast, but I always try and do my best. But I appreciate everyone who's joining us here tonight and showing their love in the chat. We would not be able to do these broadcasts and really make them entertaining if it weren't for folks like you. So we really appreciate the interactions and showing your love and support. That is ultimately what we are here for. But here it is, folks, the final minute left to go here in the final round of the J2Y Sprint Series here at Mount Panorama. And yes, that was intentional. And I will personally give $5 to whatever driver is listening to this broadcast right now to send it on the jump in the last turn. Don't actually do that, please. And there it is, folks. We have surpassed the 40-minute mark, and as Squilliam reaches through the final turn and across the checkered line, Squilliam, your race winner, as well is going to bring home the team championship for himself and Prince Adam in Team Backmarker Motorsport. A great, great day here for Squilliam. AJ takes it across the line here with a very interesting fuel strategy here in the final half of the race here. AJ takes it home in second place. Gareth McAllister with a podium finish for the very first time, I believe, here in the J2Y Sprint Series. Gareth McAllister, I'm sure, going to be absolutely thrilled about his finish here today. A fantastic night of racing, a fabulous victory for the resident squid here in Bikini Bottom. Eat my dust. The remainder of the field gonna take it across the line here to finish out their race here today. John Downey takes it home for 5th place. DC just one turn left before he takes it across the line for a 6th place finish here today. Nick Terrell as well, also looking to come away with a top 10 7th place finish. Nicolator just behind him in 8th place. Barsal 22, the last remaining driver out on track here before they cross the line. And he will take it home for 9th here today. And that will be our remaining drivers to take it across the line. And that will conclude our race here today. Had to wait before Bar South made the final turn to conclude it. But what a phenomenal race here at Mount Panorama here in Australia. What a phenomenal way to end out the last round to conclude the season here for the J2Y Sprint Series. And let's go ahead and take a look at our post-race results and go ahead and start up our post-race interviews. First up that we are going to have up in the booth, and it is a man that has been waiting to come up here in the booth for quite some time. Gareth, welcome to the booth. It seems like it has been a long time in the making here, but you finally did it. You finally made it up onto the podium here with J2Y at your home track. Out of any track that we could have had it at, it was at your home track. Gareth, how you feeling right now, man?
I feel great, Mason. Thanks for having me. And it's like an award show. Nah, it does feel like that though. It feels fantastic. Very, very happy to be here.
Well, Gareth, I mean, this is not an easy track to pull off a podium or any sort of position for that matter. It really is a tough track all around, but you managed to come away with a podium finish and really kind of having the door opened up for you as a lot of drivers kind of making some mistakes in the early laps of our feature here. But once that kind of happened, once you realized that you were in that podium position, I mean, what was on your mind at that point? Was it kind of a little bit of panic, or what was kind of running through your head there?
Oh, it was definitely panic, Mason. I tell you, Poseidon was so close to the back of me, and I was constantly panicking every lap. Oh man, I've got to get a little bit of extra a run here. You know, get a 10th there, try and keep him behind me. And I think later on in the run, he had a bit of an issue. I'm not sure what happened, but he definitely dropped back. And AJ came to pit early, which was also like, what's AJ doing? I don't know what's going on. But he had ended up working for him really well. He got out ahead of me by an extra 5 seconds or so from when he came in. So really, I was just kind of stuck in a bubble in third position, and just happy to finish out the race nice and clean, and very lucky to avoid the big wreck early on.
Well, Gareth, I think this is probably a great way to kind of end out the season here for yourself and really for the whole field. But kind of taking away a podium here and kind of taking away what you've kind of learned with the folks here at J2I throughout both the Sprint Series as well as the Endurance Series. What's kind of your outlook for next season? Do you plan on participating next season, or do you what's kind of your outlook going forward with J2I?
Well, to be honest, Mason, I was actually thinking coming into this race that I might give it a miss next season, but I'm not sure I should do that anymore considering what's just happened. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll be back for next season unless something else comes up in reality. But it's been fantastic. The biggest thing about these guys is that they're all so chill, and like they've got some funny little nicknames and some knickknacks and stuff that goes on during the race and whatever else, which is just a lot of fun. Very welcoming community. I mean, grids aren't like massive, but definitely a lot of fun to race around with a bunch of these guys. So I'll probably be back next season. I can't imagine missing it. Probably in, I don't know actually. I think we change cars for the Sprint Series every season, so we'll see what happens. And if I don't own it, well, I guess I'm gonna have to buy it.
Well, Gareth, it's been absolutely awesome to get to commentate some of the races that you've been in here. It's always a pleasure to get to watch you race and always occasionally get you up here in the booth and get to chat with you. But Gareth, I mean, we always get to chat in a more commentator setting most of the times. But it's your turn to answer this question, and I'm sure you already know what that question is. Anyone you want to shout out for today's race? Anyone watching the broadcast? Anyone at home? Anyone in the pit crew? The floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Mason. I am very, very familiar with that line, but yeah, no, just shout out to J2ICS in general. Like, all these guys are very, very welcoming, very great group of guys, and yeah, I'll thank my family. Probably should, eh? Without them, I wouldn't exist, especially my parents, obviously. And yeah, so you know, thank for all those people. I really do feel like I'm in a award show right now, Mason. I don't know what's going on. It feels very strange to be up here in the booth with you.
Well, but, I mean, you know, you're on podium at your home track. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, well, I mean, home track is very relative. I'd say,
you know, I'm speaking in relative terms, yes, but
I'd definitely say no. Phillip Island is more my home track. That's a lot closer to me than here. This is about a day's drive from my house, and to be honest with you, I'm
way off then.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've never actually been to Bathurst, which is one of those things which I solemnly regret and definitely need to do. So I'm going to do that probably in the next couple of years whenever there's a race going on there. But yeah, anyway, that's for me to do and for me to tell you later. But other than that, yeah, shout out to you as well, Mason. I know you do a great job with these guys, and TGS always does a great job as well. I know, because I'm part of it. So yes. So yeah, it's just been great talking to you, and I guess I'll catch you later. Have a very good night, Mason.
Yeah, you as well, Gareth. I look forward to getting to chat with you, not only here once again in the J2I series once that starts back up, but also in our in-house cup series and all of the other shenanigans we got going on. But Gareth, it's always a pleasure to get to chat with you, buddy, and I'll let you go from here and have a great rest of your day.
All right, cheers, Mason. Catch you later.
Catch you. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks, that was Gareth McAllister, my esteemed colleague and good friend, out of the booth here, coming away with that third place finish. Had to give it to Gareth here in the broadcast booth. You had to give him that interview. It was definitely a well-earned one. But moving on to our next post-race interview, we have Senior AJ up here in the booth, the number 45 driver, coming away with a second place finish. And as I was looking in the Discord chat, he posted a screenshot of his lap times while fuel saving. AJ, you call that consistency? I mean, that is just incredible. We're talking about only a, let's see, a max of 0.4 difference over the spread of 11 laps. I mean, AJ, you were just on a different level.
Yeah, I had to do what I had to do and just make it to the end and try to keep it in 10 seconds of schooling, and I guess it worked.
I mean, it worked way better than I would have been able to do it, and especially at a track like this that is just so difficult in many, many ways. You make it look easy, but AJ, I mean, it was definitely a tricky start to the feature race here today. A lot of different incidents happening on the opening lap, as well as the first few opening laps here, I should say. But you managed to work your way through it. You managed to keep yourself up here in the top three, managing to come away with that second place finish. I mean, what was kind of your biggest concerns going into the green flag up to today's feature?
I knew right at the beginning that I needed to get by bikers as soon as I could and just try to pull a gap, because I knew that a lot of fast guys were behind me and were going to try to get that win. And so I tried to pull that gap, and then Squam caught up, and I just wasn't able to keep him behind me before I made a mistake and had to pit for repairs. But then it was just damage limitations at that point, trying to keep her going.
Well, AJ, and with the success that you've had personally as a driver, as well as your team, what's kind of your takeaway for this season? Do you guys think you've met your goals as a team, as a driver, or do you think that there's room for improvement going into next season?
The beginning of the season, I would say, didn't start out as good as I would have liked it to. Definitely a rough start, but tried to pick it back up at the end, and I feel like the ending was good. I'll try to keep it going for next season and see what we can do and try to come up with some better results.
Well, AJ, I think you did phenomenal throughout this season. You did absolutely incredible here tonight. I certainly look forward to seeing what you guys have in store for next season. But before I let you go, AJ, before you go crack open a cold one and celebrate with your teammates as well as fellow drivers, anyone out there that's watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Definitely thank Nick and all those guys. Give Squam a good shout out for the amazing season he put on and all the drives. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of at the moment, but it was an amazing season. I'm glad everyone had a lot of fun.
Well, I'm certainly glad that I got the opportunity to get to chat with you here in the season finale, and hopefully get to talk to you, Morgan, as we enter into next season, whenever that happens. But AJ, it's always a pleasure to get to chat with you, and I look forward to get to chat with you some more as the season, as we get ready to get into next season.
Well, I can't wait. Definitely have to make it happen next season.
Absolutely. You have a great one, AJ.
You too.
Alrighty, folks. So AJ working his way out of the booth and heading back to the paddock. We have the man of the hour, the man who seems to be unstoppable here in the J2Y Sprint Series, Squilliam, back up here in the booth. Squilliam, I mean, it was a very interesting start to today's race, but you kind of predicted all of this before it even started, and you really just managed to keep your head down, keep your nose clean, and avoid all of the carnage that was happening in the first few opening laps of today's race. But Squilliam, it was much the same of what we saw in the sprint race, and like you kind of predicted, or like you kind of said, as just a matter of getting yourself into that clean air and just kind of avoiding any possible incidents that might occur around you. But was there any point in the race that kind of had you worried there in the first few laps that you weren't certain that you were going to make it out of?
I mean, definitely that spin of Biker in front of me was pretty scary. I couldn't tell. I was worried just that I had lost some front end on the downforce and stuff like that. But I mean, to be honest, besides that, I got a crazy good start compared to the first race, and I was able to get up right behind Beaver like I wanted to. And it sucks that he unfortunately quit out early, but. Yeah, besides that one little incident over the mountain, I'm relatively happy with that race. I feel awful for Eat My Dust. I definitely, I think there was a bunch of netcode involved in it when I look back at it, but regardless, I would have probably put him into the wall. So big apologies to him. But the win is a win. But still apologies to him either way. So.
Well, Squilliam, I mean, you still managed to come away with a victory here in the feature, and that I would assume means that both yourself and your teammate Paperbag, or not Paperbag, I'm sorry, Prince Adam, are going to come away with the team championship for this season of the Sprint Series. And I mean, I'm not sure about the Drivers' Championship, but we'll have to check that afterwards. But how are you feeling overall as a team? I mean, you guys absolutely crushed it this season. And what do you guys hope to accomplish going forward into season 9?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm extremely happy with tonight's result. I love Bathurst, and this combo is awesome, and I'm super proud of what me and Adam could do for the team championship. Definitely looking forward to doing more racing with him as a teammate, and he seemed equally excited to try to learn off of each other more than what we have this season, and keep doing that. So I'm interested to see what the vote ends up coming out to be, because for those that don't know, we vote on cars for each season. The endurance sometimes stays the same, but the goal of the Sprint Series is to change every season. So there's a lot of cool cars up in the air right now. It'll be cool to see what people vote on and what we end up racing next season for the Sprint season.
Well, Squilliam, I certainly look forward to what is in store for Season 9, and I am eagerly going to be anticipating for that release to be announced when you guys make that official. But, Squilliam, before we let you go, one final time to do your shout-outs. Anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, pit crew, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I obviously got to shout out my boys, Jared and Mike. Sorry, Jared. I know they're watching right now, and as soon as I got done with the second race, they were spamming my inbox on Discord. Shout out to them. They're always super awesome watching the races and all that. So they're very supportive, and couldn't ask for some better friends.
Well, Squilliam, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to talk with you here tonight in today's race, as well as throughout this season. I will certainly look forward to getting to talk to you some more in the next season. But for now, I think that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. And I just want to thank you yet again for joining me up here in the booth, and also congratulate you on not only your team championship, but a potential driver championship. Again, that's still up in the air.
I think I'm a little too far off for that one, but we'll see how things go. I think I've secured P2 at least. So.
Well, we'll at least chalk up the P2 as a victory, regardless. Phenomenal season from both yourself as well as your teammate Prince Adam, and I again certainly look forward to getting to talk to you more next season.
Of course, man. Thanks. Have a good one.
You as well. Thank you much. Alrighty, folks. Squilliam out of the booth, and I just want to apologize real quickly to those of you who are watching the interview with Squilliam. I realized that there was a little bit of an internet connection issue happening, and I do apologize if the interview was a little bit choppy or things of that nature. Hopefully, things still came through okay, and you still could hear things relatively decently. But on that note, folks, I want to thank each and every single one of you for tuning in here tonight and being a part of the show. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad as we gear up for a very, very busy season of broadcasting. You can catch all different kinds of racing happening here on the Team Goon Squad network. Get subscribed. You are not going to want to miss it. Thank you all for tuning in and watching here tonight for the season finale of the J2Y Sprint Series. Make sure you're subscribed and tuned in for next week's Crown Jewel race for the Endurance Series at Fuji Speedway. It will start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour earlier than the normal race start time. So make sure you guys are subscribed. You are not going to want to miss the action there. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Borcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 the lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.